Think about something you want right now, something ordinary. Now ask yourself, did you choose to want it, or did the wanting come first? The strange part is not that you wanted it. It is how quickly wanting became movement. Before you ever stopped to ask where the desire came from, you tell yourself you decided. But look closer. The body is already moving. The explanation may have arrived after the choice. And here is the uncomfortable question. If you only become aware of a desire after it begins, in what sense did you choose it? And once you notice it in yourself, you start seeing it everywhere. Reaction before reason, movement before explanation, wanting before why. Most of life feels deliberate because consciousness tells the story afterward. Watch closely, and something unsettling appears. We are responding to the world long before we explain why. Then it gets stranger. One person reacts, another adjusts, and someone else follows without ever knowing why. How much of what you do began with someone you never noticed? You slow down because someone ahead slows down. You speed up when the space opens. No one tells you to. Influence rarely announces itself. Most of the time, it simply becomes your next move. And some influence is so small you would never call it influence. A gesture, a habit, a reaction copied without thought. Now imagine that happening for years, and that is the frightening possibility. A choice can feel completely yours even when the path was quietly suggested before you ever considered another one. But behavior is only the beginning. Someone notices something, and suddenly you notice it too. Their interest becomes your curiosity. Their attention changes what enters your mind. And you may never realize where the wanting started. And then something changes. What began as someone else's attention becomes your own interest. The source disappears from memory, but the desire remains. Soon it feels as if it came from you. And now the question becomes harder. Out of everything you could have noticed, why this? Why did this become interesting? Trace a desire backward far enough, and its beginning can become almost impossible to find. So put the object back. Remove it from your hand. Does the desire disappear with it? Or has someone else's moment of attention already become part of what you think you want? Then someone else wants it, and suddenly you feel the pull again. That is when the question becomes disturbing. Are we choosing our desires, or are our desires constantly being shaped by the desires of others? But even if you could remove every outside influence, another problem remains. You get what you wanted, but wanting fades, and almost immediately, your attention begins searching for something else. But what happens if you do not obey it? If you notice the wanting and simply keep walking? For a moment it feels important. Then, strangely, the feeling begins to change. That is the part we rarely notice. A desire can feel urgent without being permanent. Watch it long enough, and it changes. Sometimes the thing that felt necessary a moment ago simply stops mattering. And maybe that is the first crack in the illusion. You can notice something without chasing it. You can feel a desire without obeying it. Wanting can appear, move through you, and leave. Maybe freedom does not mean controlling every desire that appears. Maybe it begins with something smaller. Seeing the desire clearly, waiting, and discovering that you do not have to become whatever you happen to want. But once you stop automatically following every impulse, something harder appears. If desire does not decide for you, and the crowd does not decide for you, then what will? Maybe the difference is not whether a choice has causes. Every choice does. Maybe the difference begins when you can see the forces pulling you and still decide which direction deserves your next step, and awareness changes the pattern. Someone turns and you feel the pull to follow, but this time you see it happening. You can let their path remain theirs and continue toward the one you chose. But choosing does not make the other paths disappear. They remain possible, unseen lives you could have entered. Freedom may not be knowing the perfect path. It may be accepting responsibility for the one you take. Maybe that is all the freedom we ever get. Not a life without influence, desire, or uncertainty, but the ability to see them, choose anyway, and take responsibility for the next step. But other people are not the only forces shaping you. The street you walk, the choices placed within reach, even the easiest direction to move can influence a decision before you realize a decision is being made. But resisting influence is not freedom either. If you choose the opposite direction only because something pushed you one way, that push still determined your response. Awareness has to become something more than resistance. Maybe freedom is not choosing without a cause. Maybe it is seeing the causes clearly enough to ask a better question. Which of these influences do I actually want to become part of my decision? And that changes everything. You do not have to copy the crowd, and you do not have to oppose it. You can understand why others chose their path, then decide whether their reason should become yours. The world will always shape the choices available to you. Freedom is not escaping that world. It may be learning to see its influence clearly enough to move through it without mistaking every push for your own voice. But now the question turns inward. Long before you learned to examine your choices, you learned how to move, react, want, and judge by watching the world around you. So how much of the person choosing was already shaped before the choice began? And it goes deeper than habits. A stranger laughs, and you smile. Someone tenses, and your body follows. The feeling inside you is real. But that does not mean it began entirely inside you. And influence reaches even deeper than behavior or emotion. Other people teach you what to notice, what matters, what deserves your attention. Sometimes the world seems to change when what really changed was what you learned to see. And then there is interpretation. You see a gesture, silence, a stranger walking away, and your mind supplies the meaning. But the meaning can arrive before the facts. What feels like reality may sometimes be a story you learn to tell about it. And this may be the most unsettling part. You do not meet reality as an empty mind. You meet it through habits, emotions, attention, and meanings shaped by a lifetime you never fully chose. And now comes the frightening question. If every choice grows from the person you already are, shaped by everything that came before, then in that exact moment, could you really have chosen anything else? And you can never truly test it. Go back, choose differently, and you are no longer the same person in the same moment. The first choice has already changed what the second choice means. And every moment contains more causes than you could ever count. A delay, a glance, a gust of wind, one person stepping around another. Tiny events change what happens next, until your choice emerges from a history too large to see. Maybe a choice is like the splash we notice on the surface. It looks like the moment everything began. But beneath that moment is an entire history of causes that had to arrive before it could happen at all. But causation does not have to mean helplessness. A river did not choose the mountains, the rain, or the rocks in its path. Yet its movement becomes part of what happens downstream. Maybe you are shaped by the past, while still helping shape what comes next. And maybe this is where responsibility begins, not by pretending your actions came from nowhere, but by recognizing that once you act, you become one of the causes entering someone else's world. Understanding why something happened does not erase what happened. Causes may explain an action without repairing its consequences. Responsibility begins when explanation stops being an excuse and becomes information for what you do next. You cannot choose what already happened, but what happened can become part of what you understand now, and that understanding can enter the next decision. You may not control the beginning of the chain, but you can still become part of where it goes, and what you learn does not stop with you. A better decision can enter someone else's life, then someone else's after that. You may never see where the consequence ends. Responsibility reaches farther downstream than recognition ever can. And eventually, someone you will never meet inherits a world containing traces of what you did, just as you inherited one shaped by people before you. Maybe responsibility means recognizing that you are not only the result of the chain, you are one of its links. So perhaps freedom was never the power to escape every force that shaped you. A bird does not choose the wind, but within the wind, it can adjust its wings. Maybe our freedom begins there too. Because freedom does not have to mean unlimited choice. You cannot choose every possibility or erase every boundary. But within the conditions you inherit, your response can still change what happens next. And awareness can create possibilities that were not available before. Understanding the forces shaping you does not make those forces disappear. But like learning how to use the wind, understanding can change what becomes possible within them. And sometimes awareness gives you something even more valuable, the chance to interrupt a pattern. You cannot erase the momentum that brought you here. But if you can recognize where it is taking you, you may be able to move differently before you arrive. Maybe freedom is not becoming a person without causes. Maybe it is becoming more aware of the causes moving through you, so that when the next moment arrives, you can participate in what happens next.